these, go to stonerjesus.net. In the top menu bar, there's a page that says Listen to the Stoner Jesus Show. There you can find all the different ways you can listen to the Stoner Jesus Show podcast. All other information on the show can be found at stonerjesus.net.
Ganjapreneur.com, your guide to the cannabis business world. Ganjapreneur.com is a comprehensive resource for cannabis professionals and entrepreneurs. Download the Ganjapreneur app on your smartphone or tablet to catch up on cannabis industry news, scroll through our daily job listings, and learn about successful cannabis companies, executives, and investors. Ganjapreneur.com, helping Ganjapreneurs grow.
Your connection to quality cannabis insurance services is spelled K-A-E-R-C-H-E-R. That's Karcher Insurance. We have worked with ventures like cannabis for over 60 years. We're proud to represent over 50 companies with tailor-made cannabis plans for owners just like you to insure your product, your plants, and your pursuits. K-A-E-R-C-H-E-R spells out their full-service insurance services ranging from commercial to bonds, to personal, from life to health, and more. Contact the team at KarcherInsurance.com and let our experience work for you. That's K-A-E-R-C-H-E-R Insurance.com.
Contact Karen and the team at Karcher Insurance at 1-844-421-3560. That's 844-421-3560. The following CannabisRadio.com program contains explicit language and content that can be considered graphic and offensive. This program is not suitable for all audiences, and the opinions expressed do not reflect those of CannabisRadio.com, its staff, management, or sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Disclaimer is so ominous. As you may know, I've never been one for disclaimers. I never had one before now. But I like it. It makes you think something dangerous is about to happen. Like, it's dangerous if you listen to this. It's not a good idea. You better get away. Go away. Don't want to hear this shit. I also believe that I'm the only show on CannabisRadio.com with that disclaimer. Which is also fine. Believe me, I understand. Shit gets a little crazy here sometimes. You never know. I may say something that will offend a great many people, like chinks or whatever, but you know, it is what it is. It's time for weed news. We get our weed news from Cannabis Tweets on Twitter. That's Cannabis Tweets with a Z. Tons of stories on there. New Supreme Court ruling in Mexico may lead to marijuana legalization. Basically, the Mexico Supreme Court struck down the prohibition of marijuana possession and cultivation and selling in Mexico. But then the president of Mexico came out and said, no, fuck that. We're not going to legalize marijuana. So, you know, whatever. You can read that on Cannabis Tweets. Also, Sean Parker, internet billionaire, is really stirring shit up in California with a new marijuana legalization proposal. He's got the backing of a lot of big groups. He has a ton of money. He has more money from other people. Is definitely the front runner. His group is definitely the front runner for recreational legalization finally coming to California. There's also 6 reasons marijuana legalization failed in Ohio. More of a postmortem about what happened with issue 3. There's reports. There's a lot of articles being written about discrepancies in the vote tallying. The Secretary of State, who of course counts the votes, was very much against issue 3 to the point where they created issue 2 just to nullify issue 3 if it passed. Issue 2 passed, so it makes it more difficult for marijuana legalization in the future. It's a big fucking clusterfuck. This next story is from Newsweek.com. A new DEA chief, said, don't call marijuana medicine. That's a joke. He says, what really bothers me is the notion that marijuana is also medicinal, because it's not. DEHF, the chief Chuck Rosenberg, dickhead, told reporters, according to CBS, we can have an intellectually honest debate about whether we should legalize something that is bad and dangerous, but don't call it medicine. That is a joke. See, there's this classic fear-mongering. He says we can have an intellectually honest debate about whether we should legalize something that is bad and dangerous. It means he appears that he's giving way in some way. Well, we can discuss legalizing it, but we have to say it's bad and dangerous, or we can't talk about it. He continued, in his own ignorant fucking way, there are pieces of marijuana, extracts or constituents or component parts that have great medicinal promise. But if you talk about smoking the leaf of marijuana, which is what people are talking about when they talk about medical marijuana, which they are not. If you smoke it, you smoke the flower or the bud, but whatever. I think one thing we can realize, this guy knows absolutely nothing about cannabis or the cannabis plant. He says it has never been shown to be safe or effective as medicine. There's so many things wrong with that statement. Other articles have come out, of course, point out the myriad, the dozens upon dozens of studies that have been done showing the effective nature of marijuana as medicine. There's also the millions of people who use it every day as medicine. And what he says is directly contradicts every fucking special that Dr. Sanjay Gupta has ever done. He says, as most people know, cannabis is whole plant therapy. You can't take shit out of it and expect to make a better medicine. It's not going to. It all works together. The entourage effect, they call it. The DEA chief, all he has to do is what they did. Sanjay Gupta did like 3 of those motherfuckers. I'm not saying he become an expert on weed. I'm saying watch 3 fucking Dr. Sanjay Gupta weed specials from CNN and learn something. Learn something about what the fuck you're talking about. But he doesn't care. He doesn't want to learn, or if he does learn, he's not going to say anything about it, because that's his job. His job is to keep that shit illegal and keep that DEA budget pumped up. It's fucking, the ignorance is astounding. And ignorance is one thing, but being ignorant and having that much power is something completely different. Governor of Ohio, John Kasich, one of the opponents of Issue 3, talked with Stephen Colbert. And you see that story up on Cannabis Tweets. He was on a Colbert show, and Colbert does a really good job. I'll play it here in a minute. Colbert does a really good job of, in a limited mainstream type of way, pointing out the fallacy of his arguments. I also wrote about it on thesmokingbud.com. You can check out my articles on thesmokingbud.com. That would be awesome of you. I did an article on this as well. Basically, I point out that telling our kids, because he talks about the message, legalization sends a bad message. Telling your kids the truth about cannabis, that's the message you want them to get. I don't want you to do this as a child or as whatever, you're 12 years old or whatever. I don't want you to do this. But let's face it, it's a lot fucking safer than alcohol. So if you're going to do something, I'd rather you do this, but I'd rather you do nothing. But the truth is, alcohol can kill you. A fucking joint won't. And that's the bottom line. It's not something you should do. I don't know, your little fucking stupid ass pea brain, kid brain can't handle it. You probably punk out like a little bitch and curl up in a fucking fetal position because you're too high, quote unquote, until they kill my buzz. So you should lay off of it until you're 18. We're not such a little fucking whiny buzzkill. There you go. I just gave you your whole fucking speech to your little fucking rugrats. I just gave you a whole speech. And that's free of charge. I usually charge hundreds of thousands for that on my speaking tour. Anyway, here's Ohio Governor John Kasich. Again, another ignorant ass about cannabis. Maybe not as ignorant as our new DEA chief, but I mean, can you really? Is it really that easy to attain that level of ignorance? A level that high? I don't think so. Anyway, Governor John Kasich on the Colbert, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, where the fuck it is now. Talking about
well, let's
weed.
talk about the criminal justice system for a second. There's been a movement across the country to decriminalize marijuana. There was a move to do that in Ohio that was defeated, and you supported the defeat of the measure to legalize marijuana in your state. Why do you think we still need to keep pot illegal?
Well, look, the problem is we have a huge drug crisis in this country. I was just in...
But is that really pot is the drug crisis?
No.
Lots of people are going to jail for minor infractions, and it ruins their entire life.
We don't do that in Ohio, okay? We don't want to stick people who... We don't even want serious drug addicts to be locked in prison for the rest of their life. We treat them. We pass them off to the community, and the recidivism rate in our prisons in Ohio for the drug addicted is less than 20%.
Classic ignorance, balling up everybody into the quote-unquote drug addict category. When everybody knows full well that, if anything, marijuana is much closer to the area of alcohol, at least in the same ballpark, than it is shit like crack and heroin and that kind of fucked up shit. And even with alcohol, it's and by every conceivable measure, it is much safer than alcohol. But anyway, continue. Oh, this guy looks like fucking Dracula. If you've seen this video. Dude's got old, and now he looks like Dracula.
And we also have said that if a person's rehabbing themselves, we want to give them a chance to get out and be successful. The problem with marijuana is this. We don't
here we go.
Want to tell our kids, don't do drugs, but by the way, this drug's okay. Let me tell you.
Isn't that what alcohol is? Isn't that?
Yeah, well... For the people,
and he gets a big pop from the crowd because it's true. There's candy. I've seen candy flavored vodka commercials in the middle of the afternoon on basic cable. Kids can get fucking basic cable. They see, Jolly Rancher vodka. Yeah, son, that sounds good. I want some Jolly Rancher vodka. The problem with the message on pot, as I said, is the lying. That is a problem. Continue.
I can understand. Let me just tell you, you wouldn't believe how many people, just in Mississippi the other day, I was with a man. He's very well educated, very successful. His 21-year-old son took his life because he was addicted to drugs and didn't know how to climb out of it. I meet people everywhere in Ohio, and we're fighting it. We're educating people in the schools. We are in a position of being rehabbing people. But, Stephen, this is...
I guarantee you that motherfucker wasn't smoking a joint and then just said, I just can't take any more of this. I can't take any more cannabis. I got to off myself.
This is kind of a curse, this whole drug. And I'm talking about the OxyContin. I'm talking about the heroin. And now heroin's not even strong enough. Now they're lacing it with a drug called fentanyl that they give to people as they're in the last stages of their life who have cancer. I mean,
I want to be clear.
You can do that?
I'm not arguing for, legalizing heroin.
No. I know.
That's the classic thing. If they can get marijuana in the same conversation as the harder drugs, they can loop it all together. And then they're making the drugs as bad. Let's save the children argument.
But look, all I'm saying to you is I tell kids, my daughters, I say, girls, just please don't do drugs, okay? We go around to the schools and tell kids, please don't do drugs. But to legalize marijuana, and I'm not all hung up about marijuana, okay? I'm just saying to you that we don't need to take the approach where we send a confusing and mixed message to our children. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think it makes...
The confusing and mixed message is telling kids that heroin and marijuana are somehow the same.
Sense?
Did you ever smoke marijuana?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Were you caught smoking marijuana?
By who?
The police.
No, I never was.
If you had been caught smoking marijuana and had it on your record, would you be the governor of Ohio right now?
Maybe.
No.
If I got you to come out and campaign for me. But here's the thing, Stephen. I'm not wanting...
What I mean is that it ruins a life to have that police record because you can't get a job.
We don't want to put people in prison or give them... Let me explain. Look, I went to school in the 70s, okay? I'm just suggesting to you now, I have never seen this drug problem as rampant as it is. And I don't want to ruin anybody's life. In fact...
And what does that have to do with weed? What the fuck does that have to do with weed? All right, next story from marijuanapolitics.com. You can find up on Cannabis Tweets on Twitter. Story from Canada, of course, Canadians want marijuana legalization.